Well, good day to you. It is the 6th of May, and I hope you have gotten through your hangovers from the Cinco de Mayo parties or whatever. But anyway, wherever you happen to be, I hope you're having a great morning or a great afternoon, great evening, great overnight, wherever you happen to be. My name is Gary Willing, and I want to welcome you to Search for Signs. And as I always like to do, just take a moment and just point out that I provided links in the description portion of these videos that take you to websites that talk about this information in some way, to give you a little bit of background information, help you to educate yourself better about the priorities of Maitreya, perhaps, or whatever. So they're there for you whenever you want to look into it. If you want to come back, like my man Ray said over here, he said, I'm back. Haha. If you want to come back, of course, you can stay as long as you want. Come and go as you please. You can even, if you want, post comments, post your questions in the comments section. Perhaps if you want to email your question or your comment to me, you can email me at searchforsigns@mail.com. So I always like to thank people who do take time out of their day to comment or ask questions. So I want to thank Ray, Dordina Zerkik, Jay and TNS, Thomas Otto, Hunter Arnsbrock, the General Shepherd Way, and Carolyn Palmer. Thank you, everybody, for your comments and your questions. Now, I had intended on addressing Thomas Otto's comment and trying to answer Hunter Arnsbrock's Brock's questions. But it got too long when I tried to do that. So I am going to just split it up, and I'm going to stick with the question. I'm going to try to answer Hunter's questions here, and then I'll post another video in a day or two and try and address Thomas Otto's comments, because I do think there's a lot to what he had to say. But Hunter, what did you have to ask? You asked, how are Democrats less as bad as Republicans? Very political correct question, by the way. Anyway, they're both bad, and I don't think either one is really less as bad, to be honest with you. They are the ones who worked with Nazis, created the KKK, killed millions for useless wars in recent times, and now want children to be able to do life-changing body changes and be able to show nudity to children. I'm curious why you think that. Well, I'm curious why you think that I think that, because I don't. So I could probably end the question here. I could probably answer your question in, 2.5 minutes versus going on and on about it by saying that I don't think any of that is true, except for one thing, the creation of the KKK. Yes. Was it Nathaniel Bedford Forrest? Forrest Gump's great-great-granddaddy was the one that started the KKK, and he was probably a Dixiecrat because he was with the South. But anyway, Hunter, if you knew who I was, you would know that I'm not a registered Democrat, and I've never once in my entire life said that the best thing for the United States or the world is to vote in more Democrats. I've never once said that. Okay, so let's just get that straight. Or that 4 more years of Biden is the best thing that could ever happen. I don't think that either, so let's just get that out of the way. I am politically more progressive because I want to see these changes. I want to see peace on earth, but I am really only concerned about the future of humanity. That's it. And I know that the only way to really get to that future is together. That's it. So whatever the left is thinking about the right, that the right will somehow wake up one day and, I guess, see the light and become more leftist, is not ever going to happen. Just as I don't think that the left is just going to magically disappear or fall off the face of the earth because the earth is flat either. I don't think any of that is true. So we are going to have to, at some point, learn to get together and get along, right? Like we did for a long time, really. I mean, there's divisions, but not like it is today, not as tribal as it is today. But why are we divided? So first you'd have to know, why is there a division the way that it is today? And if you read more about this information, you would eventually come across some writings from one of these masters that talk about the sword of cleavage. Jesus predicted in the Bible, he said, I come not to bring peace, but to bring a sword, to set father against son, mother against daughter, brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor, or something to that effect. But he was talking about the love nature of God, bringing to the surface who and what we all are. And if you're corrupt, it brings that to the surface. And if you look politically within this country, within the United States, you would see that both sides, Republicans and Democrats, are trusting their leaders less and less and less, because we're seeing every day, it's apparently the corruption in all these people. You can't hide it anymore. You used to be able to hide it, right? And that guy's pretty cool. But they were probably just as corrupt as they are today. We're just seeing it more than we were seeing it back then. We're more politically aware now than we were then, which is something that Ben's master talked about decades ago would happen. People who weren't really that interested in politics would start to become very interested in politics. I happen to have been always interested in politics from when I was a wee little child. And so I've studied politics, I've read about it, I've, ad nauseum. And I'm very passionate about my hobby of studying politics. Let's put it like that. But I've also been around politics long enough to see the political winds shift. And so to say that the Democrats of 50, 60, 70 years, or even 150 years ago, or whatever it was during the time of the Civil War, are the same as the Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Obama, Biden Democrats of today is not true. Just as the party of Lincoln back in the 1860s is not the same Republican Party of the Donald Trumpisms, and the Trumpists out there. They're not the same party. They're different. So what you're saying, some of the things that you're saying are accurate historically. Some of the things you're saying are not. Okay, so yes, the KKK came out of the Dixiecrats, for sure. But there were also progressive Democrats at that time. To say that they worked with the Nazis, how is that true? The president who went before Congress to declare war against the Axis powers was Roosevelt. He was a Democrat. His wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, was very progressive as a Democrat, but there was a very conservative, reactionary, racist part of that party called the Dixiecrats of the South. And one of those Dixiecrats, Lyndon B. Johnson, who was the vice president under Kennedy, and did everything he could, maneuvered, manipulated politically, all sorts of stuff, intimidated, forced, whatever he had to do to pass the Civil Rights Bill. It was a huge landmark legislation that a president passed that changed life in America forever after that. And they all knew it. It was that big. And yet, instead of celebrating, he turned to his advisor and said, "We now lost the South." That's the way he saw it. Was he knew how important it was, but he also knew that the political winds would shift because of it. And that's exactly also what happened. Those same racist, misogynistic, anti-Semitic Dixiecrats that were solidly in the South that then became Republican. And, I remember when I remember when Carter was voted out of office, and he ran a second time against Reagan. It was blown out. The political map was totally different. He, in 74, it was all Democrat. In 1980, it was all Republican except for Georgia. I mean, it was embarrassing, but it was amazing to see the shift in political winds like that quick. And it never came back. You know what I'm saying? So those Republicans of today are totally different than the Republicans of the past. Those Democrats of today are totally different than the Democrats of the past. So, but, it is true to say that the KKK came out. Now, in terms of the Nazis, the Nazis were not supported by the Democrats, but there were political elitists, there were socialites, there were in not only the United States, but also in Europe and around the world, who were very supportive of Hitler, especially before they knew what he was actually about. You know what I'm saying? But who and what Hitler was, is he was one of the points of darkness for the Antichrist energy to manifest on this planet and do its destructive work. So the Nazis in Germany, the fascists in Italy, and the militarists in Japan represented this triangle, this nefarious triangle that allowed the nefarious energy of the Antichrist to come out into the world. So the Antichrist is already come and gone. And so those people who are waiting for the Antichrist to come back will be waiting for a very, very long time. They're not coming back. It's not coming back in this lifetime. And it's not even an individual. So it's not even true to say that Hitler was the Antichrist, but it could be said that he was the poster boy or the poster child for the Antichrist for sure. But the people who supported him, maybe some were anti-Semitic, where there's some, Democrats who supported him even after that came out that what he was doing to the Jewish people of Europe, that still support him? Probably. You know what I'm saying? Were the Republicans who had financial interest with Germany that wanted to continue to support Hitler because of their financial interest with that? Probably. So I don't think it's necessarily true to say it was just one party and not the other. Okay, so Just throwing that out there to you. Now, in terms of the useless wars and the killing of innocent people, this is also directly related to the Antichrist energy. It has nothing really to do with the political parties. It has to do with the Pentagon. The Pentagon is what's running this country, according to the masters, and have influenced every single president since its inception. So it doesn't matter whether you're Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter even, Reagan, Bush 1, Clinton, Bush 2, Obama, Trump, and now Biden. It doesn't matter who. They are all being influenced or have been influenced by that energy. And what do I mean by that? Well, those 3 points of darkness that the Axis powers were defeated at the end of World War II, but it wasn't the end of that nefarious energy and those nefarious points of darkness. They resurfaced again in the Zionist movement in Israel, in Eastern Europe around the Baltic states, and in the Pentagon. And that's what's been causing all the problems over the last 70 or so years. So that energy was defeated but not destroyed. And what allowed their influence to continue was the reinstatement of the State of Israel, where most Christians think that was a God-inspired act that happened, the creation of the State of Israel. Most politicians at the time thought they were doing the utmost good by doing that. Well, actually, they were being influenced by the forces of darkness. It was an evil thing that happened, unjust, horrible thing, to take people who had been living in an area for centuries, criminally and unjustly move them out, and put new people living in their same spot, right? It destabilized peace in that region. Peace has not been in the Middle East ever since. And it's jeopardizing the future of the entire human race because of it. So, so these wars that have been going on, it's because of the nefarious energy in the Pentagon, not the presidents. But according to Ben's own master, each president, whether they're Democrat or Republican, have been influenced by this energy. He just said the Republicans just seem to be more influenced than the Democrats to some degree. So is it true to say that Bush was responding and being influenced by that energy when he decided to have the Congress declare war against Iraq and kill millions of civilians? Yes, it's true. But he was a Republican, first of all, right? So can't say he was a Democrat. But is it also true to say that Obama was influenced by him when he by that energy when he authorized a drone strike against an American citizen and killed him without due process? Yeah. Are they both guilty of war crimes? Absolutely. Should they both be held accountable legally? Absolutely. And if you step back and you look at the political environment in this country and you're truly detached from it, you can look at a Republican and say that and a Democrat and say that, and not just because I don't know any person who supports Trump, with all their heart, that can truly say that you'll never hear these words come out of their mouth. If Trump was guilty, he should be held accountable. They'll never say that. But yet you'll hear Democrats say, well, if Biden did something illegal, he should be held accountable too. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? One's kind of a little bit more of a free-thinking kind of party. The other one just seems to be this very cliquish cult. You know what I mean? But the thing that I'm most critical of the Republican Party for is the fact that they're using Christianity to manipulate people to gain votes. That's the thing that I can't abide by. And if the Democrats are doing it, I would never vote for a Democrat if they were doing that. Because it's a crime. You know what I'm saying? It's also, I think, at the very least, it's a lie to say that the Republican Party is the party of patriotism and the party of America, and the Democrats hate America. That's not true. And most Democrats that I know, they love America. Most of them go to church, what I'm saying, that I know, right? Or at least go to church every once in a while. They don't hate God. They aren't God haters. They aren't baby killers. They aren't any of this stuff. That the things that they're labeled and they're called, But, am I frightened about 4 more years of Biden? No. Do I want 4 more years of Biden? No. You know what I'm saying? I am frightened a little bit more about 4 more years of Trump and what would happen if he became president based on the things that he's been saying. Like if you're a drug dealer or a human trafficker, on day one, he's going to sign an executive order that if you are charged or convicted of being a human trafficker or a drug dealer, you'll be put to death quickly, without appeal. And then he even said, I kind of like what the Chinese do, where they just send the bill of the bullet to the family and let them pay it. Huh? Is that the kind of country you want to live in? You know what I'm saying? And you might be saying, well, I'm not a drug dealer or a human trafficker, but they just seem to be able to make up accusations about anybody without any evidence. Obama's not from this country. He shouldn't be illegal, he's not legal to run for president. And I got the evidence, it's coming. Never did. And that was, 9 years ago that Trump started talking about that. Never once did he ever offer up any proof or evidence that Obama was not born in this country. Not one. He's claimed that Biden stole the election. I have the proof. I have the evidence. Well, where is it? Well, I have the proof. I have the evidence. Where is it? I have the proof. I mean, he's been saying this for the last 2 years or so. So, if he had the evidence about Obama not being born in this country, he would have brought it to the American public. If he had the proof that Biden really stole the election, he would have brought it to the American public a long time. He just keeps talking about it. He's full of garbage. Now, is there corruption in elections? Absolutely. The ironic thing, and it's not the ironic thing, the truth of the matter is that the Republicans are better at cheating at elections than Democrats are. And here's my evidence is, if you look at the last 30 or so years of presidential elections, there's only been one time that a Republican won the popular vote and yet also won the electoral vote. And that was Bush's second term. His first term, he did not win the popular vote, but won the electoral vote by manipulation and corruption and legal and illegal voting and those kind of things, in legal elections and so forth. They were doing it. They did it in Florida. They stopped the vote. They did everything they could politically in the courts to stop the counting of the votes, to see that if Gore actually won or not, which Ben's Master said Gore actually did win Florida. But if you look at even Trump, his first term, he did not win the popular vote. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't win it the second time. But yet he's claiming that he's the most popular president in human history. There's no truth to anything that he says practically. And so that's what I'm most critical of, is the Trumpism and the use of Christianity to get votes, to making all sorts of slanderous claims against their political opponents that they have no evidence for, but they just do it just to do it and whatever like that. So, but I am not, I'm not this huge Biden supporter. If Biden did something illegal, he should be held accountable. He should be, see his day in court if he did something illegal. Just as if Hunter Biden did something actually illegal, he should be held accountable too. But I would say the same thing about any Republican too. So, or anybody really. But anyway, I love you guys. Thank you, Hunter, for the questions. And you guys have a great day. And as always, bye-bye. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.